So, what's so great about Blender 3D? Well, the program is open source. It runs on all OSs. So it runs on Mac, on Windows, on Linux, and especially for Linux, it's really hard to get ray tracers and 3D modelers because most companies ignore Linux. And of course, it's also free, so you can do whatever you want with it. This is a huge advantage. It has become really, really powerful as a program. They have added a lot of cool features to it, so you can do hair simulation, cloth simulation, any kind of physics, soft bodies, particles. And there's another few cool features. I'm just gonna show one here by switching this like this and switching to rendered. You see this gets a little grainy here, so I'm just gonna keep talking while this can work in the background. So they added a new thing called cycles, and cycles gives you a lot more realism. It also enables you to do GPU rendering, both on CUDA and OpenCL. And OpenCL is especially great because it works on all devices. CUDA only works on NVIDIA devices, so it's kind of limited. And as you can see here, this is actually live rendered. So it's being rendered as we speak. And the cool stuff about this is that I can actually navigate around the scene, and it'll always show me what's current right now. Right now it's a little grainy, as you can see, but that's going to clear up. So basically it renders the whole thing, but a lot of graininess remains. And this graininess gets cleaned up. You can see here path tracing sample, and this scene I would probably run with about 2,000 to 3,000 path tracing samples. So it will take a little while longer. But this is a really exciting feature. And now if I move the mouse and zoom in, it's gonna redo the whole thing. And but I can demonstrate that quick. So for example, I can zoom in here. I move over a little bit to this puppy here. For example, like this. And then it's just rerunning the whole thing from scratch. So I'm not comparing Blender 3D with any commercial products, because definitely probably doesn't have all the features that the commercial products have, but also it's not a fair comparison because commercial products are very expensive usually, and Blender has some unique advantages. For example, you can do whatever you want with it because you basically own it as part of the community. What else is cool? There's a few other cool features that I've just come across. For example, the whole interface is pretty much run in Python. So for example, if I add an object, you can see here, or I transform or resize an object, this is all done in Python in the back end. So you can tie into this and automate pretty much everything. This is really exciting. So for example, here a mesh primitive gets added. And so why do I use Blender 3D? Well, for a few reasons. I used to do a lot of ray tracing in the past, but I've noticed that it takes you a long time to get into a program, to learn all the features, to learn the interface. I mean, these programs are super complicated and complex. And well, obviously, if you spend a lot of time getting into it, you might also spend a lot of money because they're pretty expensive. They can cost like $1,000 or something. And then I noticed that if you are standardizing on one tool, that might put you in a dicey situation where the manufacturer will be able to force you to upgrade. Let's for example say that there's this update coming out, you know, that you really don't care that much about. There's not that many features that you're actually liking it. Sometimes it's like that with commercial software because the manufacturers just basically do what they want. They don't necessarily do what you want as a customer, you know. Now you don't want to do that update, but you will have to, because if you don't do the update and pay for it, next time they'll force you to pay full price. Then there's also other things that can happen. For example, the company might get acquired and the product might get shelved, or just there's no development happening anymore. And so the cool thing about Blender is that's not going to happen, because if that would happen, Blender would get into a dead end. They could always fork it. They could always take the source code and make a new product out of it. So basically, it can't die, which is really great. And also what works for me great is that I know I'm part of the community. So I'm actually a contributing part of Blender and not just a paying customer that forks over the money and basically gets no say whatsoever. It's kind of more active role that you can have. So I'm really excited about the new Blender, and it's really exciting to see how it's developing. And in case you want to see what it can do, you can also look up Blender movies. They have done quite a few movies to demonstrate the power and capabilities of Blender, and they've also pushed the program further and further with all these movies. So I guess it's good to have something to use it for, specialized problems that you need to solve in real life.